Have you ever climbed into bed at night and felt as if someone or something quietly siphoned off your strength while you weren't looking? Not just the normal "I had a long day, tired," but that strange emptiness, like your inner flame burned all day for everyone and everything else and left nothing for you. You woke up with good intentions, maybe even motivation, and yet somehow by the time darkness falls, your body is heavy, your chest feels flat, and your spirit is quieter than you'd like to admit. You catch yourself wondering, where did all my energy go? How did I lose so much of myself between morning and night, without anything dramatic even happening? Ancient Taoist sages asked the same question long before we had words like burnout or emotional fatigue. Their answer was both simple and uncomfortable. The real threat isn't how much you do, but how much energy you silently leak without realizing it. They taught that life doesn't drain you because you work, love, or care. It drains you because of what happens in the background. Repetitive thoughts looping like broken records, emotional storms that never quite pass, automatic reactions that fire before you even know what you're feeling, worries spinning like a wheel without water. Every spike of anger, every wave of anxiety, every overthinking spiral opens tiny, invisible cracks in your field. Little by little, your vital force slips through those cracks, not in an explosion, but in a slow, steady drip. Imagine your life force as a beautifully crafted bowl made of jade. It doesn't shatter in one dramatic fall to the floor. Instead, it develops hairline fractures from daily stress, old stories and unhealed emotions. One harsh comment spoken in irritation, one worry held tightly in your chest for hours, one painful memory you keep pushing down instead of allowing it to move through you. Each one is a hairline crack. At first, you hardly notice, but drip by drip, your essence seeps out, and by the end of the day, you're left wondering why everything feels heavier than it should. The Tao, that subtle current at the heart of existence, never taught people to fight life, to suppress themselves, or to become superhuman. It taught something far more radical and tender: inhabit your life fully, but stop wasting yourself in the process. Taoist masters realized that humans do not age only because years pass. They age early because of the constant mismanagement of their inner energy. Stopping the leak isn't just poetic language. It is a discipline, a practice, a quiet form of inner alchemy. In this journey, we step into that ancient wisdom and bring it into a modern world that rarely pauses. We'll look at why a scattered mind is one of the biggest thieves of your vitality, how unprocessed emotions behave like slow drains you barely notice, and why the Tao keeps bringing us back to something that sounds so simple it's easy to overlook turning inward. You'll see why softness outlasts hardness, why an inner smile is not just some cheesy idea, but an energetic tool, and why the Tao is not asking you to be perfect, it's asking you to live in balance. This is not brand new knowledge. It's knowledge the world simply forgot. It is a quiet reminder to stop feeding your energy into the chaos around you and start protecting it as the sacred resource it has always been. If something inside you is nodding along right now, it's because this path is not just interesting information. It's a mirror of something your soul already knows. Long before therapists spoke about chronic stress, emotional exhaustion, or mental overload, Taoist practitioners were watching the same patterns through a different lens. They didn't see people as machines that suddenly break down one day. They saw us as living, breathing fields of energy constantly shifting, responding, contracting, and expanding. In their view, the human being is made of qi or kai life force that flows, pools, and transforms. Ancient texts like the Tao Te Ching, along with lineages of oral teachings passed from master to student, pointed to a sobering truth: most people live in a state of constant internal flight. They're not necessarily running away physically, But mentally and emotionally, they're never fully here. The mind keeps wandering. The heart stays agitated, emotions spill over, and the qi scatters into every direction except the one that truly nourishes you. For Taoist wisdom, conserving energy mattered more than forcing yourself to generate more of it. It didn't matter how many breathing techniques you practiced or how many exercises you did if, at the same time, your mind was chewing on worries and unresolved conflicts all day. The Tao repeats a principle that is both mystical and incredibly practical. Energy follows attention. Wherever your awareness sits, your life force quietly follows. If your attention is stuck in past regrets, it flows backward. If it's stuck in future fear, it spills into what hasn't happened yet. Very little is left in the only place you can actually live this moment. Contemporary teachers who translate these ancient teachings for modern life often say the same core thing in different language. Your biggest leak isn't in your muscles or your schedule. It's in your restless mind and unhealed emotions. From the Tao's perspective, anger is not a sin, and sadness is not a flaw. They are raw forms of energy, like wild elements. The problem appears when that raw energy explodes outward without consciousness. When someone gets angry and lashes out, they're not just expressing themselves. They're taking their vital force and converting it into a destructive vibration that burns them and those around them. A chain reaction begins. One person dumps their frustration. The other reacts and dumps it back. And soon, you have an entire invisible web of people draining one another without meaning to. The Tao offers a totally different path than guilt, repression, or forced positivity. It doesn't divide you into good versus bad, and it doesn't demand you smile your way through pain. In the dance of yin and yang, nothing is fixed as purely negative or purely positive. Everything is in relationship. The key, then, is not to amputate what you call negative, but to rebalance it. When yin and yang interact in harmony, energy moves freely. When one overwhelms the other, energy either stagnates or leaks. The old masters would say, when balance holds, the universe turns. When balance breaks, everything struggles. This wasn't just poetry for them, it was energetic physics. To the Tao, your body is a small version of the cosmos. If your inner currents circulate smoothly, life seems to cooperate more easily. When those currents jam up, you feel it as fatigue, confusion, emotional turbulence, or even illness. That's why the Tao wasn't interested in producing saints who never felt anything. It was interested in people who could return to their center again and again, no matter what life brought. True spiritual strength wasn't about controlling everything out there, but about refusing to keep pouring your energy into chaos and inner disorder. Here's where the Tao gets even more intimate and honest. It teaches that energy never disappears by sheer bad luck. There's always a door left open. The difficulty is that most of these doors are invisible to people who are constantly focused outward. Taoist wisdom begins with a confronting insight. The world is not stealing your energy as much as you are handing it over unconsciously. The first major leak happens in the realm of thought. Compulsive thinking is like a river that has lost its banks. It rushes, but it doesn't irrigate anything. Every repeated worry, every replay of a conversation, every imagined catastrophe, every argument you have in your head at 2 a.m., all of it consumes chai. The masters were clear. Thinking itself is not the enemy. Thought divorced from presence is where the bleeding begins. The mind jumps from yesterday to tomorrow with the nervous energy of a monkey leaping from branch to branch. And in that constant movement, the energy shatters into pieces. Picture an oil lamp. When the flame burns steadily, the oil lasts and light fills the room. But when the flame keeps flickering because of non-stop wind, the oil burns out quickly and the light wavers. Your agitated mind is that wind. The more it gusts, the faster your reserves are exhausted. The second door of leakage opens with emotions that never complete their natural cycle. The Tao views emotions as currents of energy that want to move, transform, and pass through. When an emotion arises and you push it down, it stagnates and becomes heavy. When it explodes outward without awareness, it scatters and leaves you depleted. In both cases, the system loses. Anger may be the clearest example. It takes your life energy and turns it into intense heat, pushing it outward through words, actions, and tension in your body. You might feel a brief sense of release, but afterward there's often a hollow tiredness, a kind of emotional hangover. That's why Taoist adepts devoted so much attention to inner alchemy, the art of refining rather than expelling. Emotional energy can be turned into clarity, stability, quiet confidence, but only if you redirect it inward instead of flinging it outward. At this point, one of the deepest teachings of the Tao comes into focus, turning the senses back toward their origin, instead of letting every trigger pull you out of yourself. You learn to bring your awareness home. The Taoist practitioner learns to pause, not as a way of numbing out, but as a way of reclaiming their power. Instead of instantly reacting, they breathe. Instead of dumping the emotion, they feel it in their body and allow it to move. Instead of running away from discomfort, they sit in the center of their experience and listen. This isn't abstract. The Tao maps the body as an energetic landscape. Your organs are not just physical structures, they carry emotional and spiritual qualities. The heart, for example, is seen as the seat of your spirit. When it's disturbed, your mind races and your energy scatters. When it's calm, thoughts settle and your whole system reorganizes. That's why one of the most famous Taoist practices is the inner smile. It's not a fake grin you show others. It's a gentle, sincere smile that you direct inward toward your heart, your organs, your whole being. This inner smile works like an energetic seal. It softens tightness, soothes agitation, and helps scattered energy come back home. Wherever there is genuine softness, energy stops rushing out through cracks. The Tao says something that seems almost too simple to be true. Softness is stronger than force. Mental rigidity, emotional stubbornness, and a constant need to be right create fractures where your life force leaks away. Softness doesn't mean weakness. It means flexibility, the ability to bend without breaking. Sometimes a single moment of inner gentleness conserves more energy than hours of pushing and grinding. But the Tao has no interest in extremes. It doesn't ask you to be endlessly calm or permanently positive. That would just be another form of inner violence. What it asks for is balance, a living, breathing, imperfect balance where yin and yang keep meeting and adjusting. When balance is close, energy spins and renews itself. When balance is lost, movement slows and the leaks widen. Up to this point, we've explored where energy escapes. Now the living question is, what do you do when the emotion is already here? When the conflict is already happening? When life is loud and messy and not at all zen? The Tao is at its most revolutionary, not in the quiet of a mountain, but in the middle of real life. It doesn't ask you to avoid conflict or pretend everything is okay. It invites you to change the direction of energy in the very moment things feel intense. When someone throws their anger, fear, or frustration at you, something subtle but powerful is going on. They are trying, unconsciously, to pull you into their vibration. If you react automatically, the loop closes, both of you lose energy, and the leak is complete. Taoist alchemy teaches you how to break that loop. The first move is non-engagement. That doesn't mean pretending not to care or letting people walk all over you. It means you don't immediately fuse your identity with the emotion that's passing through the room. Whether it's yours or theirs, you step into inner sovereignty. You watch the emotion like a wave crossing the surface of a lake. The wave is real, but it's not the whole lake. Where there is observing, there is less loss. Where there is blind reaction, energy spills. This is where one of the most misunderstood yet powerful tools returns the inner smile as a transmuter. When someone projects negativity and you respond inside with a quiet, compassionate smile, not sarcastic, not forced, just steady, something alchemical happens. The aggressive current has nowhere solid to land. It begins to disperse. The old teachers said, "The inner smile cools fire and softens metal." Anger is fire, the inner smile is water. Water doesn't wrestle with fire, it surrounds it until it turns into steam and rises. The energy doesn't vanish, it changes state. Another crucial, often overlooked teaching of the Tao is that it doesn't trust perfectionism. Trying to be eternally high vibe, constantly spiritual, or always pure, creates tension, and that tension becomes yet another leak. The Tao is brutally honest and deeply compassionate at the same time. It knows light and shadow are both part of you. So instead of asking you to erase everything you don't like about yourself, it asks for something humble and powerful. Be just a little more conscious today than you were yesterday. One honest breath, one tiny pause before the old reaction, one small act of kindness toward yourself. That's enough to start turning the wheel. As that inner balance slowly approaches the center, never perfect, always adjusting, your energy starts to rotate instead of draining. On days when it tips too far into conflict, fear, or chaos, you don't punish yourself, you gently correct course. On days when you hide behind fake positivity, you notice the pressure building and let yourself be real again. The Tao also shines a light on one of the most dangerous leaks of all, believing you are your emotion. Feeling anger is not the same as I am an angry person. Experiencing sadness is not the same as I am broken. Every time you say, "That's just who I am," you carve that identity into your energetic field and lock a portion of your life force into it. The Tao answers with a simple, liberating perspective. You are not the emotion. You are the space it appears in. When that truth stops being just a nice quote and starts living inside you, everything shifts. Energy stops being this fragile resource that life keeps stealing and becomes something fluid, transformable, and resilient. You no longer run from your feelings, and you no longer weaponize them against others. You recycle them, you learn from them. You let them move through your system and become wisdom instead of weight. That is inner alchemy, silent, invisible from the outside, yet incredibly deep. The real test of this wisdom isn't what you know, but how you live when the world is noisy. The Tao is not asking you to escape your job, your family, or your responsibilities. It's asking, how do you walk through all of that without leaking yourself away? Stopping energetic leakage isn't a one-time decision. It's a way of moving through every day. This is where the sacred meets the practical. One of the most powerful practices is surprisingly simple pause before you react. Every time a strong emotion rises, anger at a message, anxiety over a comment, frustration in traffic, there is a tiny gap between what happens and how you respond. That gap is where your power lives. If you instantly react, the energy flies out. If you take even one conscious breath, energy starts to flow back into you. Make it a habit to return to your center in small ways. Bring your awareness to your chest, to your heart, and call up that inner smile, not to deny what you feel, but to hold it. The problem may still need action, but the leak doesn't have to continue. Another key practice is learning to choose your energetic battles. Not every disagreement deserves your life force. Not every opinion needs a response. Not every online argument or family drama is worth opening your energy field over. Each meaningless fight is like puncturing your own container over and over. The Tao says that walking away at the right moment is not weakness, it's mastery. When you remove yourself from someone else's storm without carrying their emotion inside you, you've won without violence. You've guarded your chai. You can also turn your everyday routine into a quiet training ground. While you're washing dishes, walking the dog, typing an email, you can slip in a micro-return to yourself, 1 or 2 conscious breaths, a tiny inner smile, a soft check-in with your body. The Tao doesn't demand that you meditate on a cushion for hours. It invites you to come home to yourself in these little moments, again and again. That's how the small fractures begin to seal. Just as important is releasing the obsession with emotional perfection. You're not meant to be on all the time, nor are you meant to be spiritually impressive. The attempt to always be calm, always positive, always wise becomes its own rigid shell, and rigidity always cracks. Instead, aim for honest balance. If today felt chaotic, let tomorrow include one deliberate moment of harmony, a slow meal, a walk outside, a genuine conversation, a quiet 10 minutes with your phone off. That's enough to shift your trajectory. The Tao doesn't ask you to be pure, it asks you to be real and just a bit more conscious. And then there's your inner voice, the stories you tell yourself all day, especially the ones you never say out loud, are constantly shaping your energetic field. Harsh self-talk, constant self-blame, I'm not enough on repeat. These are some of the biggest leaks in modern life. Speaking to yourself with cruelty is like taking a knife to your own jade bowl and wondering why everything keeps draining out. The Tao answers with gentleness, not because it is naive, but because it understands how transformation actually works. What you attack, you break. What you meet with kindness, you transform. And finally, the Tao reminds us energy loves rhythm, not extremes. Regular sleep, simple food eaten with attention instead of distraction, movement that feels alive rather than punishing, and moments of genuine stillness. These seal your energy far more effectively than complicated techniques you only use once in a while. Life itself is rhythmic inhale and exhale, day and night, expansion and rest. When you allow your life to follow some kind of rhythm instead of living in constant override mode, your system starts to trust you again. If you apply even one of these principles, one breath before reacting, one choice to walk away instead of argue, one inner smile in the middle of tension, you will start to notice a quiet shift. Less numbness, more presence, less being hijacked by every trigger, more sense of inner strength, not because the world suddenly became easier, but because you stopped emptying yourself into every noise around you. At its core, stopping the leak of energy is not a trendy technique or a distant spiritual ideal. It's an act of reclaiming your life from everything that never deserved to own it. Throughout this exploration, the Tao has been whispering the same simple truth in many forms. It's not life itself that is exhausting you. It's the unconscious way you keep giving your vital force to thoughts, emotions, and conflicts that don't truly serve you. We've seen how energy drains when the mind scatters, when emotions spill instead of move, and when reaction replaces presence. We've also seen that the Tao is not about fighting who you are, but about coming home to who you are, over and over, returning to your center, coming back to balance, choosing softness where you used to default to tension. These are not small things. The inner smile, the willingness to pause, the dance between yin and yang, the acceptance that you are beautifully imperfect together. They point you away from a life lived only outward. When your energy no longer pours out of you at every turn, something extraordinary and very grounded happens. You realize you don't need to become more to feel whole. You don't need endless techniques, constant self-improvement, or approval from the outside. What you already have, when conserved and respected, becomes enough. The Tao teaches that when energy is held and directed wisely, clarity emerges by itself. You no longer feel torn in 10 directions. Choices become simpler. Conflicts don't grip you in the same way. The body feels a little safer. The mind quiets more easily. The spirit's natural light comes back into your eyes, not because you finally managed to control the world, but because you stopped letting the world control your inner state by default. This wisdom doesn't need admirers. It needs practitioners. It's looking for people willing to watch themselves honestly, to catch that one reaction and soften it, to create a tiny pause where before there was only automatic defense. Every small moment of awareness is a crack sealed. Every time you return to your center, even for a breath, you reclaim energy that used to spill away. So now the question turns back to you in a very personal way. Where are you giving your life force away? Without noticing, is it to certain thoughts that replay the same story, to emotions you use as an identity, to people or situations that pull you into drama over and over again? The Tao is not asking you to throw your life away and start over. It's asking you to stop throwing yourself away inside the life you already have. If this message touched something in you, don't let it stay as just a nice idea. Keep walking this path with us. Hit subscribe, give this video a like, and share it with someone you sense is tired for reasons they can't quite explain. Leave a comment telling me one place where you know you've been leaking energy and one small shift you're willing to make starting today. When you interact, you're not just helping the algorithm, you're making a conscious choice to keep this awareness alive in your field. Remember, the energy you choose to protect today becomes the clarity, strength, and peace you live in tomorrow. The Tao is always flowing underneath the noise of the world. The real question is, are you ready to flow with it, instead of fighting against it or draining yourself in the process?